wasn't supposed to find the diary. It started innocently. Elena and I were getting ready for bed when I realized my phone charger was missing. I searched the usual places: living room, my backpack, the kitchen counter, before finally checking her nightstand. That's when I saw it, a small, black leather-bound notebook tucked just beneath a stack of magazines. At first, I didn't think much of it. Elena always kept journals. She said it helped her organize her thoughts, which I assumed meant scribbling about work stress and grocery lists. But something about the way it was hidden and placed, but tucked away, made my hand linger. I don't know why I opened it. Maybe curiosity, maybe something deeper, a nagging feeling I couldn't name. The first few pages were harmless. Notes about her favorite new wine, a list of movies she wanted to watch, a paragraph complaining about her boss. And then I turned a page and froze. The title at the top read, "Plan to Break Him." At first, I thought I was misreading it. I blinked, scanned the page again. My name was there, written in her neat cursive handwriting. James. Step 1, make him depend on me. Is too independent, too sure of himself. He'll start by making his friends doubt him, plant little stories, harmless lies that will grow over time. I've already told Aaron that James can't be trusted with certain things. Aaron believed me. He always does. My heart pounded as I read, each word cutting deeper. I glanced toward the bathroom, where Elena was humming to herself while brushing her teeth, completely unaware of what I was holding. The entry continued, step to isolate him. Slowly but surely. Make him cancel plans. Convince him that his friends talk about him behind his back. Once he's cut off, it'll be his only support system. It'll be easier to break him once he only has me. Chill ran down my spine. What the hell was this? A sick joke? Some kind of twisted writing exercise? I flipped through the pages, hoping for context, for anything that would explain why my girlfriend had a literal roadmap to destroying me. But it wasn't fiction. There were specific dates, names, and events listed, conversations I remembered having. Things she couldn't have guessed. I barely had time to shove the diary back into the nightstand before Elena stepped out of the bathroom, towel wrapped around her hair. Find your charger? She asked casually. Oh yeah, I muttered, forcing a smile. My hands felt clammy, my throat dry. She tilted her head, studying me for a second. You look weird. You okay? Just tired, I lied. She smiled sweetly and kissed me on the cheek, completely unaware of the storm raging in my head. That night, I lay next to her in bed, staring at the ceiling. She fell asleep quickly, her breathing steady, her hand resting lightly on my chest. It felt like a weight pressing me down. The words from the diary echoed in my mind. Make him depend on me. Isolate him. Break him. I thought back to the last few weeks. The times Shed subtly convinced me to cancel plans with friends. The way Shed rolled her eyes whenever I mentioned hanging out with Aaron or Mai. The way Shed made little comments like, "Do you really think they have your back?" At the time, I thought she was just being protective, loving, but now I wasn't sure. When I woke up, Elena was already up making coffee. She smiled when I walked into the kitchen, handing me a mug like nothing was wrong. Sleep okay? She asked. Yeah, I lied again. I studied her as she moved around the kitchen, graceful, confident, her dark hair falling perfectly over her shoulders. She looked like the same woman I'd been dating for over a year, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I didn't know her at all. All day, I debated whether to confront her. I wanted to storm into the kitchen, slam the diary on the table, and demand an explanation. But something told me to wait. If I confronted her, she'd have an excuse ready. She'd turn it on me, make me look like the bad guy for invading her privacy. No, I needed to be smarter than that. I decided I would keep reading the diary when I had the chance. I needed to know just how far this went. That night, when Elena went out to run errands, I took the diary out again. I skipped ahead to the next section and felt my stomach twist. Phase 2, destroy his reputation. It's not enough to isolate him. I need to make him doubt himself. He'll start with small things, little digs at his confidence. He won't even notice at first, but eventually he'll break. They always break. They always break. Those 3 words made my blood run cold. I thought about the times Shed joked about my work habits, calling me lazy when I stayed late at the office, or teasing me about my friends not liking me as much as I thought. It brushed it off as playful teasing, but now I wasn't so sure. Had she been planting seeds this whole time? Was I already in the middle of her plan without even realizing it? When Elena came home, I acted normal. I smiled, kissed her on the cheek, asked about her day. But inside, I was calculating. I needed to know what kind of person I was dealing with. I needed to read the rest of that diary. And when I did, it decided my next move. The one thing was already certain. The woman I thought I loved might be plotting my downfall. The next evening, I couldn't focus on anything. Not on work emails, not on dinner, not on Elena's voice as she chatted about her day. Every time I looked at her, all I saw were the words from that diary. Make him depend on me. Isolate him. Break him. She looked so normal sitting across from me at dinner, soft smile, the casual way she tucked her hair behind her ear. But nah, every word out of her mouth sounded rehearsed. Was it always like this? Or was I just noticing for the first time? When I mentioned grabbing drinks with Aaron that Friday, she tilted her head. Again? She asked, her tone light but laced with something underneath. What do you mean again? I asked. You saw him last week, she said with a small shrug. I just think it's funny how much time you spend with him lately. You know he's been talking about you, right? I frowned. Talking about me? She nodded, her expression serious. Yeah, he told me he thinks you're distracted. That maybe you're not as focused on your career as you should be. I didn't want to say anything, but it bothered me. I felt my jaw tighten. Aaron and I had been friends for years. He'd never say something like that. At least, I didn't think he would. But Elena said it so convincingly that a tiny seed of doubt planted itself in my mind. Later that night, when Elena fell asleep, I slipped out of bed and opened her diary again. One line leapt out at me. Aaron is the easiest to turn. He trusts me. A few well-placed comments, and James will start questioning their friendship. Once he does, he'll lean on me more. My blood ran cold. This wasn't paranoia. She was deliberately driving a wedge between me and my closest friend, and had almost fallen for it. I flipped further into the diary, and what I read made my stomach churn. I told him Aaron might not have his best interests at heart. He looked unsure, exactly as planned. Next step, make him cancel Friday's plans. If he cancels, I'll know I've got him right where I want him. I slammed the diary shut, my pulse pounding. She was testing me, manipulating me like I was just some pawn in her game. The next morning, I looked at Elena differently. She smiled as she made me coffee, but I couldn't help wondering what her real thoughts were. Every gesture, every glance felt loaded with hidden meaning. When she asked, "Are you still meeting Aaron on Friday?" I forced a casual tone. "Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I?" Her smile faltered, just for a split second, and I saw a flash of irritation, like it'd spoiled her script. That afternoon, I got a call from my coworker Sarah. "Hey James, is everything okay?" she asked. "Yeah, why?" "I don't know, Elena mentioned to me at the company party last month that you've been feeling burned out. I just wanted to check in." Burned out? I hadn't said anything like that. My mind raced as I remembered another line from the diary. Plant seeds at work. Make them question his reliability. If they start doubting him, he'll have to lean on me for reassurance. The realization hit me like a brick. She had already started sabotaging my career. That night, I decided to test her. "Hey," I said casually as we watched TV. "Sarah mentioned something weird today. She said you told her I'm burned out at work." Elena's face stayed calm, but her eyes flickered. "Oh, that? I just meant you've been working a lot. I didn't mean anything by it." "You sure?" I asked. She smiled sweetly, resting her hand on my arm. "James, I'm on your side. Always. You know that." I forced a smile, but inside I was seething. Her act was flawless, but had seen behind the curtain now. I stayed up late that night, reading more of the diary while Elena slept. Each page was worse than the last. Phase 2. Destroy his reputation. He values his friendships and work reputation the most. That's where it'll hit him. Once he feels like he's losing everything, it'll be the only one he trusts. He's stubborn, but I know how to push his buttons. All it takes is patience. I slammed the diary shut, my breathing shallow. What kind of person does this? This wasn't just manipulation, it was a calculated plan to break me. By the time the sun came up, it made a choice. I wasn't going to confront Elena just yet. Not until I had proof beyond her diary something she couldn't deny or twist back on me. I needed to play her game, at least for now. I texted Aaron, "We need to talk. Something's going on with Elena, and I think you're involved without knowing it." He replied almost instantly, "What? What do you mean?" I didn't answer right away. I needed to figure out how to explain it without sounding insane. Because that's the thing about reading someone's diary, you can't exactly say, "I know what you're planning," because I snooped. The next few days, I played the part of the clueless boyfriend. I smiled, I laughed at her jokes, I kissed her goodnight. But every time she looked at me, I wondered, what is she thinking? What's the next step in her plan? The more I pretended everything was normal, the more I noticed every subtle thing Elena did, and the more I questioned what was real. She had this way of talking that I'd never paid attention to before, little digs disguised as jokes. "Wah, you're going to wear that to work," she'd say with a smirk. Or, "You know Aaron only hangs out with you because you always pick up the tab, right?" These were things I used to shrug off. Now, they felt like deliberate jibes, tiny cracks she was chiseling into my confidence. Aaron finally called me about my cryptic text. "Do What's going on? You've been acting weird, he said. I hesitated, glancing at Elena, who was scrolling through her phone on the couch. I need to ask you something. Did Elena ever say anything to you about me? Like, anything negative? Aaron was quiet for a moment. Oh yeah, a couple weeks ago she said you've been stressed and kinda flaking on things. I figured she was just concerned about you. I clenched my jaw. There it was. The seeds she was planting were already taking root. That night, I told Elena it'd be late home from work. Instead, I met Erin for drinks. She's been saying weird things about you, man, Erin said as we clinked glasses. Stuff about how you're losing focus, maybe drinking too much. I didn't believe her. But you sure everything's okay between you two? Yet I lie. Everything's fine. I didn't want to drag Erin into this until I had more proof. When I got home, Elena was already asleep. I crept into the bedroom, pulled the diary out from her nightstand, and flipped to the latest entries. Step 3. Keep feeding Aaron dots about James. It's working. Aaron asked if James is okay. I told him I'm worried. That's all it talks, just a nudge here and there. My hands tightened around the notebook. It was like she was narrating my life in real time. Next work. I dropped a hint to Sarah about James being burned out. She took the bait. Soon, his coworkers will start questioning him too. By the time he notices, it will be too late. Over the next few days, I tested her without her knowing. Sarah asked if I was okay. I told Elena over breakfast, pretending to be casual. Elena frowned, tilting her head. Really? That's strange. Maybe you've just been coming off as tired. You have been tired lately, haven't you? No, I said, studying her face. I'm fine. She smiled softly, but I saw the flicker of something, disappointment maybe, like she wanted me to admit to being off balance. I pulled Sarah aside at work. Hey, just curious, did Elena tell you I was burned out? Sarah shifted uncomfortably. She mentioned it in passing. Said you'd been stressed and might need a break. I didn't think it was a big deal. I forced a smile. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it. But inside, I was furious. Elena wasn't just messing with my friendship, she was planting seeds at my job too. That night, Elena suggested we skip dinner with my friends and just have a quiet night together. You're always out with them, she said, her tone sweet but laced with something sharper. Don't you think they might get tired of you bailing? I froze. That Linetti might get tired of you is almost word for word from her diary. No, I said firmly. I'm going. She smiled thinly. Okay, your choice. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was living in a game I didn't understand. Was every comment she made part of the plan? Was every smile a performance? I started watching her when she didn't know I was looking. She was always on her phone, texting someone. Who? Aaron? Sarah? Was she already turning them against me? The next day, I tried something. I made up a fake story. I think I'm getting a promotion soon, I told Elena casually. Her eyes narrowed slightly. That's unexpected. Are you sure? I watched her closely. Later that day, I asked Sarah if she'd heard anything. She shook her head. Not about you. Why? Nothing had leaked yet. Which meant Elena hadn't spread this one. It was my control test, and now I knew. She was careful, only planting the lies that would cut the deepest. That night, I found another new entry in her diary. Is resisting. He doesn't cancel plans as easily anymore. They'll have to push harder. Maybe bring up money, hates feeling insecure about finances. She was adjusting her strategy, studying me, adapting. I realized then that if I didn't act soon, she'd win. I started planning my own game. I gathered proof, screenshots of her diary, recordings of her subtle digs, conversations with friends to show the pattern. And when I had enough, I'd confront her. But for now, I needed to stay quiet, let her think she was in control. By the fourth night of snooping through Elena's diary, I felt like I was living with a stranger. Every smile, every sweet word, every casual I love you felt hollow. I couldn't look at her without wondering what she was plotting behind that perfect smile. But what I read that night made my blood run cold. It was written at the top of the next page in big bold letters. Phase 2. Destroy his reputation. My hands trembled as I read the bullet points beneath it. 1. Subtle comments to his boss about him being stressed and making odd decisions. Make it sound like concern, not criticism. 2. Plant the idea in his friends' heads that he's been drinking more than usual. Aaron will spread this easily, like can't keep his mouth shut. 3. Undermine his confidence. Jokes about his appearance, his intelligence. Gaslight him until he doubts himself. I slammed the book shut, my breathing ragged. She wasn't just trying to isolate Mesh, was trying to break me in every aspect of my life. The next day, I saw the first signs of her plan in motion. At work, my boss, Mark, stopped me in the hallway. Hey James, everything okay with you lately? You've seemed off. I forced a smile. I'm fine. Why? Oh, no reason, Mark said with a shrug. Elena mentioned you've been a little overwhelmed at home. Said you might need some time off. My stomach dropped. She's already doing it. That night, I confronted her indirectly. Mark asked if I was stressed, I said casually. Weird, huh? Elena didn't even flinch. Oh, I might have mentioned you've been working too hard. I was just trying to help. Didn't mean anything by it. I stared at her, trying to read her face. She looked so sincere, so innocent. If I hadn't read her diary, I would have believed her. Over the next few days, I noticed a pattern. Every time I did something, even something small, Elena would twist it into a flaw. If I forgot to take out the trash, she'd sigh and say, "Wow, you've been so forgetful lately. Are you okay?" If I wore an old shirt, she'd smirk. "You really don't care about looking good anymore, do you?" If I was quiet for a while, she'd tilt her head and ask, "What's wrong? You've been so distant." Individually, these comments were harmless, but strung together, they were like tiny cracks forming in the walls of my mind. Then Aaron called me out of the blue. "Dude, are you okay?" he asked. "Why is everyone asking me that?" I snapped. "Because Elena said you've been drinking a lot." I told her I didn't see it. "But is something going on?" I froze. I barely drink. Maybe a beer or two on weekends, but nothing more. The fact that she was spreading these lies made my skin crawl. That night, I waited until Elena fell asleep and checked the diary again. The latest entry read is starting to push back. I need to be more subtle. Aaron bought the drinking star, even asked me if I was worried about James. Perfect. Next, they'll make Sarah think he's unstable. Just a few comments here and there. She'll believe me. My blood boiled. Unstable. What the hell was she trying to achieve? Did she want to ruin my life, just to prove she could? The next morning, I decided to push her buttons. Over breakfast I said, "Funny thing. Aaron asked me if I was drinking too much. I wonder where he got that idea." Elena paused, her spoon halfway to her mouth. "I have no idea. Maybe it's just concern." "Really?" I said, staring at her. "Because I feel like someone's been talking behind my back." She gave me a soft, pitying smile. "James, you're imagining things. I think you're just stressed. You're not paranoid, are you?" The way she said paranoid made me want to throw something. She was gaslighting me, right to my face. It hit me then if I confronted her directly. She'd twist it all around, make me look like the crazy one. I needed proof. Hard, undeniable proof that she was behind all of this. I started recording our conversations, leaving my phone on record when we talked. I also began taking photos of her diary entries, page by page, whenever I got the chance. That night, I pretended to be asleep while she wrote in her diary. I cracked my eyes open just enough to see her face. She wasn't smiling or frowning, she was expressionless, her pen scratching across the page like she was drafting a battle plan. The woman I loved wasn't there anymore. Maybe she never was. By the end of the week, I had dozens of photos of her diary and several recordings of her subtle manipulations. But I wasn't sure what to do next. Should I confront her with the evidence? Should I go to my friends and tell them the truth? Or should I play her game a little longer and take her down on my terms? I woke up the next morning with a pit in my stomach. Elena's mask of sweetness was wearing thin, and now that I knew the truth, every word out of her mouth sounded like manipulation. I couldn't live like this anymore, caught between pretending I didn't know and the growing urge to confront her. But I wasn't ready yet. I needed proof, solid, undeniable evidence. If I went up against Elena without it, she'd twist everything back on me. She'd make me look like the unstable one, and judging by her diary, she'd already started laying that groundwork. I started by checking her phone, but Elena was careful. She had a passcode, and had never tried to unlock it before. Nah, I watched her fingers when she texted or scrolled, memorizing the pattern of numbers she tapped. Late that night, when she was in the shower, I finally got in. Most of her messages were innocent texts to her sister, work emails, a few chats with friends. But then I found a thread with someone named her. There were cryptic messages like, "Is starting to doubt himself. Aaron believes me. Next step is work. By next month, he'll have nowhere to run." I stared at the screen, my chest tightening. Who the hell was R? Was she doing this for someone else? The next day, I checked in with Sarah at work again. "Has Elena been saying things about me?" I asked casually, trying to sound nonchalant. Sarah hesitated. "Not much, just that you've been stressed. She said she's worried about you burning out." Burning out? She was planting the seeds again. "Did she mention anything else?" I asked. Sarah shrugged. "She asked me if you've been missing deadlines." I told her no, but it was a weird question. Weird was an understatement. Elena was setting me up to look incompetent. That night, while Elena slept, I scrolled through her diary photos again, piecing together the timeline of her phases. Each entry was colder and more calculated than the last. R agrees this is the best way to break him. The isolation is working. Aaron trusts me more than him now. Who was R? The name kept popping up like some shadow in the background. Was it a friend? An ex? Or was it someone who wanted me gone just as much as she did? I decided to come clean at least to Aaron. I invited him for a drink, away from Elena's watchful eyes. You're gonna think I'm crazy, I said, lowering my voice. But I think Elena is doing something. She's been saying things to you about me, hasn't she? Sarah was again paranoid. She wanted me to doubt myself, but I wasn't falling for it anymore. When she went to bed, I sent Aaron screenshots of the messages and diary pages. She's escalating, I texted. I think she wants me to lose it so she can say I'm unstable. Aaron replied, then don't give her what she wants. Well, outsmart her. Get proof, and we'll confront her together. As I sat there, looking at the photos of her diary, I realized something chilling. Elena wasn't just trying to ruin me. She was enjoying it. It's almost too easy. He trusts me so much. I can't wait to see how he reacts when everything crumbles. Not if I crumble her plan first. By now, I was done playing defense. Elena's plan was escalating, and I could see her confidence growing. Every day, she'd slip in another comment meant to chip away at me. Are you sure your boss likes you? You've been coming home tense lately. Aaron told me he's worried you're not yourself anymore. You've been losing focus, James. I'm just concerned. She said concerned the way a spider might say it was concerned about the fly caught in its web. But I wasn't her fly anymore. Aaron and I talked over the phone late one night. She's planting seeds everywhere, I said. I need to catch her in the act. Something I can throw back in her face where she can't deny it. Aaron hesitated. What's your plan? I'm gonna feed her a story, I said. Something completely false. If she repeats it to anyone, he'll know. And he'll record her when she slips. What story? That I got a warning at work for being late. They'll tell her I'm worried about my job. If Sarah or Mark mentions it to me, they'll know exactly where it came from. The next morning, I casually dropped it into conversation while Elena made coffee. Mark pulled me aside yesterday, I said, rubbing the back of my neck. He's not happy with me. I might be on thin ice. Elena's eyes lit up, not with sympathy, but something colder, something calculating. Oh no, she said softly. I'm so sorry, James. What happened? I shrugged, pretending to be embarrassed. I was late a few times. I just hope it doesn't cost me my job. She reached over and touched my hand. Don't worry, they'll always take care of you. The words sounded like poison. That night, when she fell asleep, I checked the diary. There was a new entry, dated that same day. He admitted he's on thin ice at work. Perfect. They'll confirm it with Sarah tomorrow. Make it sound like I'm worried. Once they all think he's failing, hell spiral. My chest tightened. She had taken the bait. 2 days later, Sarah called me. Hey James, are you okay? Elena mentioned you might be having trouble at work. I was surprised I haven't heard anything from Mark. I clenched my jaw. There it was. Yeah, I said, trying to sound casual. It's just been a stressful week. But inside, I was grinning. I had her. That evening, I set my phone on the kitchen counter, recording audio while Elena cooked. Sarah asked me about work today, I said casually. Did you talk to her? Elena paused, Neff hovering over the cutting board. Oh yeah, I might mention you've been stressed. I just care about you, James. I don't want people thinking you're struggling. You told them I was struggling, I said, my voice calm but firm. Her tone softened, sweet as sugar. I was just trying to help. You're imagining the worst. Click. I stopped recording. I had her voice on tape, now proof of her lies. But there was still the mystery of her. I couldn't stop thinking about those messages on her phone. Who was helping her? That night, while she was showering, I checked again. There was a new message. Keep going. The more he doubts himself, the easier it'll be to take control. Take control? Of what? My job, my life, my sanity? I scrolled up the thread. A few messages were even creepier. Remember what we talked about, needs to hit rock bottom first. Don't let him see you break character. He has to believe you're his only support. When I told Aaron about her, he got quiet. What if it's someone from your work? Someone who wants your position? Maybe Elena's feeding them info. The idea chilled me. Or, I said slowly, it could be her ex. She mentioned once she dated a guy who liked mind games. Maybe she's still in contact with him. Aaron whistled. Man, this is getting darker by the day. What's your next move? I need to end this, I said. I'm done playing games. They'll confront her this weekend. They'll show her I know everything, diary, the texts, all of it. You sure if that's smart? Aaron asked. Not sure, I admitted. But I can't keep living like this. Over the next 2 days, I acted like everything was normal. I laughed at Elena's jokes, kissed her goodnight, and pretended not to notice when she accidentally slipped in another comment meant to undermine me. But inside, I was counting down the hours until it'd flipped the script. The night before I planned to confront her, I read her diary one last time. The latest entry chilled me to the bone. It's almost where I want him isolated, doubting himself. Or says just a little longer. They'll have complete control soon. Maybe then he'll see how much he needs me. No, I didn't need her. I was done being her experiment. I set up a folder on my laptop with all my evidence, photos of her diary, audio recordings of her lies, screenshots of texts. I even emailed the folder to Erin, just in case something happened. Tomorrow, I'd confront her. And this time, she wouldn't be able to gaslight her way out of it. The next evening, I decided it was time. Elena was curled up on the couch, scrolling on her phone like nothing was wrong. But had spent days collecting evidence, screenshots of her diary, audio recordings, text messages. I wasn't going to let her play me anymore. Elena, I said calmly, taking a seat across from her. We need to talk. She looked up, her smile bright but cautious. Talk? About what? About Erin. About Sarah. About the things you've been telling them about me. She tilted her head. What things? You know exactly what things, I said. That I'm unstable. That I'm drinking too much. That I'm failing at work. Her smile didn't falter, but there was something behind her ice calculation. James, you're imagining things again. I'm just worried about you. I've always been worried about you. I pulled out my phone and hit play on the recording he'd taken the night before. Sarah asked me about work today, I said on the recording. Did you talk to her? Elena's voice followed, crystal clear. Oh, yeah, I might have mentioned you've been stressed. I just care about you, James. I don't want people thinking you're struggling. I stopped the recording. So, still think I'm imagining things? Elena's smile faded, replaced by something colder. So you've been recording me now? Snooping through my private conversations? What kind of man does that? The kind who finds a diary with plan to break him written in it. I shot back. The kind who's tired of being played. Her face hardened. You went through my diary? Yes, I said, my voice firm. And I know everything. Every step of your plan. Every lie you've told about me. And I know about our, for the first time. I saw real surprise flicker across her face. You know about our? Yeah. Who is it? Your ex? Someone you're working with? Whoever it is, you've been plotting against me together. Elena laughed softly at first, then louder. It wasn't her usual laugh. It was sharp, cold, and unsettling. You really think I need help to break you? James? I clenched my fists. You wrote it all down, Elena. You've been sabotaging my friendships, my job. What the hell did I do to you? She leaned back, crossing her arms. You don't get it, do you? You walk around like you're untouchable. Like everyone loves you. You're charming, funny, successful, and I wanted to see what would happen if all that was stripped away. If I could break the perfect man. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. So this was all a game to you? Her smile was back, cold and razor sharp. Everything's a game, James. And I always win. I stood, my heart pounding. Not this time. I've got everything, your diary, your recordings, your texts. You can't twist this. Elena's eyes narrowed. And what are you going to do with it? Show Erin? He already doubts you. Show your boss? They'll just see a paranoid boyfriend digging through his girlfriend's stuff. I swallowed hard, realizing she might have a point. She had been laying this groundwork for weeks, maybe months. If I wasn't careful, she'd make me look like the crazy one. Leave, I said, my voice low and firm. Pack your things and get out. Tonight. Elena stood slowly, her eyes never leaving mine. Well, what? We'll tell everyone I'm some kind of monster. Go ahead. You'll only look worse. I stepped closer. I'm done with your games. You're leaving. End of story. She smiled again this time. It was chilling. You think this ends just because you tell me to leave? I've already planted the seeds, James. People believe me. They always believe me. Even Erin. My chest tightened. You're bluffing. Am I? She said softly. Ask him what I told him about you. Or ask Sarah. Better yet, wait until your boss starts looking at you differently. He hesitated but agreed. I sent him the photos I'd taken of Elena's diary, pages detailing her plan to break me, to turn him against me, to sabotage my work reputation. After a few minutes, Erin called back. Holy James, this is insane. She really wrote this? Every word, I said. I wasn't lying when I said she's been manipulating all of us. Erin let out a low whistle. She called me this morning, said you threatened her, said you were losing it. I didn't know what to believe, but now, man, this is next level. With Erin on my side, I knew I could tackle the rest. I forwarded the diary photos and my audio recordings to Sarah with a brief message. Elena's been lying. Here's proof. I'm not burned out. I'm not unstable. She's been planting these stories to sabotage me. Sarah's reply came within minutes. Wow. I had no idea. I'm so sorry, James. I believed her. I won't anymore. For the first time in weeks, I felt the ground under my feet again. By noon I got a text from Elena. Enjoy your little victory. You think anyone will believe you over me? You're just making yourself look guilty. I didn't reply. Instead, I uploaded every photo of her diary, every audio clip into a private cloud folder, and sent the link to Aaron and Sarah with one instruction. If anything happens, you know what to do. 2 days later, Elena showed up at my door. I almost didn't open it, but I wanted this to end on my terms. She stood there with a cold smile. So this is how it's going to be. You're going to drag my name through the mud because you can't handle the truth. The truth, I said, holding up her diary. You mean the truth about how you tried to isolate me, ruin my friendships, sabotage my job? That truth, her smile faltered for the first time. You read that out of context. It was just me venting. I laughed bitterly. Phase 2. Destroy his reputation. That's some venting. I stepped closer, my voice steady. I sent everything to Aaron and Sarah. Everyone knows what you've been doing. You can't twist this anymore. It's over, Elena. She glared at me, her jaw tight. You think you're safe because of them? I can find someone else. Someone who'll believe me. Not my problem anymore, I said, and shut the door in her face. The next few days were quieterly quiet. I half expected Elena to try something else, but aside from a few angry texts, she stayed away. Aaron stopped by with a six-pack and a grin. She's done, he said. Sarah told me Elena tried to call her, but Sarah shut her down. I think she's out of moves. Good, I said, exhaling. I'm done with her games. I spent the weekend cleaning the apartment, throwing out the things Elena had left behind, deleting her photos from my phone. Every trace of her felt like a shadow I needed to purge. For the first time in months, I felt lighter, free. As I tossed the last of her things into a box, I found one final page in the diary I hadn't seen before. It wasn't about me, it was about the next person. If James figures it out, he'll move on. There are always others. Someone will play the game with me. I stared at the page, a chill creeping down my spine. Elena wasn't done, she'd just move on to someone else. But that wasn't my battle anymore. It survived her, and that was enough. A week later, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Lisa. I don't know you, but I think Elena is dating my friend now. She said you're crazy. Is that true? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I sent the link to the cloud folder with all the evidence. Read this, I wrote. Then decide for yourself.